Guerrilla Cambridge's Killzone Mercenary takes an interesting look at the events that have already transpired in both Killzone and Killzone 2. While it never directly impacts the events that have already taken place, it does help explain how some of the feats could have happened. That is, all along there was a small force of mercenaries which helped turn the war one way or another, regardless if you had no idea at the time. You play as Aaron Danner, a mercenary who lends his particular skill set out to whomever pays the most. Through contracts via either the ISA or Helghast, Danner sets out to accomplish a variety of different tasks which all help him turn the sides of the ongoing war between the two major forces. To really understand what is going on, Cambridge sets up a beautifully narrated and quick-to-the-point recap of what has happened up to this point, that is, up to the time of Killzone. Two political parties get into a feud on the planet Vetka, a futuristic Earth-like planet, and when a civil war breaks out, the dominant party, the ISA, kicks out the Helghast, banishing them to the poor and desolate mining planet of Helgen. The environment on this planet is so harsh that many of the people die, yet those who survive become stronger, both physically and mentally. In order to endure the planet's harsh environment, the Helghast develops certain equipment which fends off the radiation, heat, and other elements. This gives the Helghast their well-known look of always wearing gas masks of some sort. Although the Helghast were banished from Vetka, they didn't give up on their right to live there, and therefore, through the climb to power by a ruthless dictator Vizari, plan a surprise attack on Vetka. This is where the game starts. The ISA are in dire trouble, being caught off guard and overwhelmed by the Helghast's superior technology. One of the ISA's main commanders is held captive. In order to win the war, they need her alive and by their side. By sending in Danner to rescue her, the ISA realizes that they can use mercenaries to help in the more pertinent missions, while the main forces defend the front lines. Move ahead 2 years. The rest of the game takes place within the time frame of Killzone 2. The ISA, with the help of Danner and his crew, have repelled the Helghast back to their home planet. The ISA needs to retaliate to finish this war the Helghast has started. However, they are still no match for the Helghast's superior weaponry. However, an opportunity opens up for the ISA to seize control of the situation. A Helgen scientist is willing to defect, providing all sorts of knowledge for the ISA, as well as holding the information of a secret weapon the Helghast intend to use. Danner's main mission henceforth is to intercept the scientist and bring him to the ISA for questioning. However, some interesting information comes to light when Danner is turned upon, thus forcing him to aid the Helghast military leader at the time, Kratek. What happens next in the war between the ISA and the Helghast is up to one man. Killzone Mercenary is set up across 9 missions, and much to my surprise, each mission flowed together quite well. There was never any time where I felt I had missed something, despite the game being segmented. Killzone Mercenary had a very interesting and catchy theory, however. Take something that's already happened and throw a twist on it all to show how it could have turned out. By tying the story into previous titles, it was easy to follow along, as so long as you have played Killzone and Killzone 2, but not necessary to the plot. I took a special amount of pleasure in seeing key events that took place in the past entries reappear in the side title, such as when Vizari nuked his own city, for example. Overall, I felt that the story, while well thought out and entirely believable in the previous established events, lacked a certain amount of pull in the player. I wouldn't say that the story did well on its own, but with the knowledge of everything else that's going on, carefully detailed before each mission, it adds a certain richness to the entire series. There have been a few attempts at releasing a first-person shooter on the Vita, or any handheld gaming device for that matter, and none have really made it to the acceptable mark. Yet what most have tried to do, Guerrilla Cambridge has succeeded in doing. Utilizing the dual analog sticks along with minor touchscreen function and staying true to the feel of a Killzone game has surprisingly worked on the Vita, and all of us who still have a Vita are quite thrilled. While I do recommend turning up the sensitivity, Killzone Mercenary feels incredibly natural. The physics and inertia are all reminiscent of past entries in the series, which really help the veteran jump right in. Cambridge has brought back several guns and equipment, as well as added quite a few new alterations of certain weapons to create the largest armory in the Killzone series yet. In addition to your primary, secondary, and equipment, you can also change out your armor to fit your specific needs, and there's an entirely new system titled Vanguards, which are essentially kill streaks that can be used in both multiplayer and single player. All of the equipment and weapons you acquire can be purchased through a mysterious seller who thrives off of conflict, named Blackjack. Throughout the entire game, you'll find supply caches so you can change out your gear or resupply, which you will desperately need as ammo reserves are low throughout the story. Killzone Mercenary tries something that not many first-person shooters have. It allows you to play through the entire game stealthily. Whenever you enter a new area in the map, with the exception of a few laid-out circumstances, enemies are unaware of your existence. By playing it low, you can avoid a large amount of reinforcements in every scenario, thus making your job a whole lot easier. While this is a great and challenging idea, it isn't perfectly executed. There are many times when enemies would spot a downed enemy who happened to be just lying behind cover 200 yards away, thus blowing my covert up. But at the same time, I was able to clearly walk past an enemy without him noticing, so I suppose there's some give and take there. While playing it low and slow can make the entire experience smoother, albeit still very, very challenging, there's some gratification in large massacres as a one-man army. Luckily, Killzone Mercenary allows you to play this way as well. In fact, there are 4 specific ways to play, which become unlocked upon one completion of the story. You can play normally, however you want, no rules, or you can play stealth, precision, or demolition. Each of the 3 additional modes has specific goals you need to meet in order to complete a mission, i.e., get 50 headshots, 30 kills from behind, or destroy a tank with a Vanguard. Even though there are many different ways to progress through the story, easily seen by marvelously designed levels fitted with multiple paths, which are quite possibly the best I've ever seen in a shooter, I still felt as though I was doing the same thing every mission. Stealth for a little while. get caught. Fight off hordes upon hordes of enemies. Get to objective. Initiate hacker demolition. Fight off more hordes of enemies. Barely escape on a cruiser. And repeat 8 more times. The overall experience is, however, broken up by a clever puzzle, a hacking system, in which you can gain access to intel, open locked doors, or etc. In this sequence, you utilize the touchscreen by matching certain shapes to a pad. Match all the shapes in time allotted, and you've won the small gratification that comes with completing such a simple, yet often adrenaline-pumping puzzle. All in all, the gameplay is reliably fun and enticing. It truly feels like an FPS, and though there are a few issues, such as the car system not cooperating when you really need it to, you'll never sit back after death and have to blame the awkward controls. Killzone has been known for its impeccable graphical quality. While using what is essentially the Killzone 3 engine, one would expect Killzone Mercenary to deliver the same quality on the powerful Vita. To no one's surprise, Cambridge was able to do just that. The lighting and shadow effects are glorious in each mission, and the attention to detail is a force to be reckoned with. Multiple times through the story, there are cinematic appearing cutscenes in which you can actually look around, and I strongly encourage that everyone does this to get a feel for how wonderful this game actually looks. In the first mission, you glide along the Vetka skyline, and you can actually feel the weight of the war just by what you see. Throughout gunfire from dozens of enemies in a vast area, there are no frame rate drops, though many times there were what appeared to be slight pauses where the game needed to catch up, primarily in between sections and or when exiting blackjack supply caches. After the infrequently frequent occurrences, I deduced that this was not a general frame rate drop, but merely issues jumping from small amounts of detail to very large due to the fact that I had never encountered it when I would have thought. At one point in the story, I was actually blinded by the light cast between an enemy's legs. I had to stop for a second, not only to figure out what to do to see, but to admire how well the effects represented themselves. While some particle effects could have been a little cleaner, such as dust clouds in the distance, I can honestly say that this is one of the best looking Vita games out there. There is nothing more satisfying than the kill chirp that emits upon finishing an enemy, except of course the over-gratifying melon pop noise that comes with a sniper headshot. Thankfully, Guerrilla Cambridge made sure to include all the traditional Killzone sound effects into this latest installment, and for that, I couldn't be happier. Seeing as a large part of the game is based around stealth, it also makes sense to really showcase some essential noises into the environment as you're traversing through the story. Being able to hear your own footsteps as you approach an enemy helps you learn that you need to take it slow, or risk being noticed. Other cues such as character dialogue between AI in the middle of a mission help you key into what they're thinking. While some of the voice acting is a little over the top, I'm looking at you, Russian vampire lord Blackjack, you rarely find yourself believing that the characters aren't invested in what's going on. The only noticeable setback is the soundtrack to the game. Killzone 2 had an iconic menu song, and Killzone 3 made its best attempt at one as well. However, not once did I really find myself getting engrossed in a musical score. While this is quite a disappointment to me, it doesn't deter from the overall gameplay of the experience, as you may have other things to worry about. One thing that the Vita really needs is a game that will hold you for a while. After all, we're not getting many, if any, system sellers to keep you interested in using your Vita. Monster Hunter pluck. Thankfully, Guerrilla Cambridge answered our prayers with Killzone Mercenary. Every part about this game screams, play me some more! The best part about Killzone Mercenary is that, at its heart, it is a mobile game. The missions are set up to be played quickly, and online matches can take anywhere from a very short 5 minutes to a riveting 20 minutes. As mentioned earlier, there are 4 ways to go through the story, and with the objectives that go with each playstyle, you could be playing for a while just trying to complete one mission. Even though the story isn't long by any means, I completed the game on veteran difficulty in about 5 hours, and it took my damn time retrying levels and exploring. This push to play the story through different ways makes the game already quadruple in replay value. Of course, there's also the fact that Killzone Mercenary has a fully functional multiplayer, albeit a few bugs here and there, which hopefully will get worked on very soon. Mercenary's multiplayer takes a step to the side from the past Killzone entries, which at first disturbed me until I kept playing and found out that I was loving and dominating the online. Killzone Mercenary does away with the previous class system, and instead implements a more general system of creating a loadout. You unlock 5 loadouts as you rank up, each can be equipped with their primary, secondary, armor, equipment, and vanguard via Blackjack's armory. The wonderful thing about Killzone Mercenary is that Blackjack's armory carries over between single player and multiplayer, meaning that anything you buy in one game mode will transfer to the other, including money earned. This really helps new players jump into the online without a worry as to being under-equipped. The general gameplay of the multiplayer has stayed the same, however. There are 3 modes to choose from: Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, and Warzone. Warzone is a collaboration of different game modes bundled into one match. Performing objectives will earn your team points, and the team with the most points at the end wins. Modes range from standard Team Deathmatch, a stealthy interrogation mode, to a Capture the Vanguard mode. Vanguards are present in 2 ways in multiplayer. The first is simply a random drop, and accessing it gives you a random Vanguard to use. The second is through a game mode in Warzone, as mentioned, where you need to hack the Vanguard using the shape-matching sequence found in single player to earn you and your team points. Each match will pit 8 players against one another, and thankfully the beautifully designed maps are the perfect size for these skirmishes. During any online gameplay, a kill will reward you with a dropped Valor card, which you can pick up. These Valor cards are a representation of the skill of the player you just killed. They are categorized by weapon type and range from 2 to ace. For instance, if someone were a top-notch sniper, they would have an Ace of Spades card. If they are a very poor assault rifle user, they would have a 2 of clubs. Collecting these cards will net you XP or cash, but more importantly, collecting an entire deck will net you a large boost of it. The little details like this really add to the overall experience and make for an enjoyable and lengthy career online. While there are some issues that need to be worked out, such as parties being able to join together, or some awful lag and terrible respawns, the multiplayer truly gives you $40 worth alone. That combined with the daunting task of going for Platinum will really give you your money's worth. In the end, Killzone Mercenary truly provides an amazing experience on the PlayStation Vita. It feels like a shooter you'd play in a console, and with a multiplayer to match, it is a force to be reckoned with. I can safely say that the quality and quantity holds up well to its predecessors and should be in every person's Vita library.